Wi-Fi Matters. So today I'm going to be interviewing Jackie Lam. Jackie started Hey Freelancer, a blog to help fellow freelancers get financially savvy. She helps them keep their money in check while doing what they love, whether it's recording an album, writing, creating art, or taking a sabbatical. She helps them get past the stereotypes and stigma that artists are terrible with their money and that they need to starve to pursue their passion. So let's move right on to my conversation with Jackie, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the interview. Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for being on Wi-Fi Matters. Super excited to have you here, and I can't wait to learn more about you and everything you do.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on Wi-Fi Matters.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself, especially you in your childhood and when you were a teen.
Yes, absolutely. So, a little bit of my childhood. I grew up in the suburbs of Los Angeles,
Mhm.
and I was raised by a single mom.
Mhm.
And I feel like I had a pretty normal childhood in a lot of ways. And from an early age, I was really interested in money for some reason.
Mhm.
When I was little, one I think it was a Christmas, I got for some reason, four relatives gave me piggy banks. I think there was like a sale at like CVS or something. So I had like my aunts and uncles all gave me piggy banks. So I did something funny where I would put quarters in one, nickels in another, and dimes in another. And
You put them all together.
I didn't do that. Yeah, I just put them separately. And at that time, we got like a lot of random stuff, piggy banks. So I would just use them to save. And
Mhm.
me and my cousins, there was a little fiesta at the church, our church every spring, and so we would want to save money for to spend on games and stuff. So that was my very earliest memories. But yeah, I feel like I had a kind of a normal like
Mhm.
suburban upbringing for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read that, I actually saw the video of you and Michael Jackson's Heal the World video, which is pretty cool. So did you get to meet him?
Yeah, so it was funny. So I did not get to meet him. That was my first gig
Yeah.
ever in life, and
Mhm.
I only remembered it because when you make money, Social Security gives you like a little report every year,
Oh.
and I totally forgot I did that until a couple of years ago. But yeah, it was a super random gig. I some people, I think they were talent people, came to our church because I used to go to Saturday school with
Okay.
Vietnamese church, and they would interview all of us and take our photos. And so we got to go to the Universal Studios lot for a
That's
day. It was really fun. Yeah, we got to take the day off. I was, I think, in fifth grade. And me and my cousins went, and we expected to see Michael Jackson, but unfortunately, it wasn't that kind of shoot. It was a bunch of different kids doing different scenes that day.
oh, okay.
So yeah, I did not get to meet him that day, although I was disappointed as a child, but it was also just fun to take the day off and
Yeah.
make my first money when
Yeah.
I was 10.
Totally. So did you talk about finances growing up with your family?
You
Um,
know what? We didn't. I don't know about your family, but we didn't talk about money at
mm,
all, really. The
mm,
only experiences or conversations we had was just actually through observation.
oh,
Like just seeing how my parents were with money. I mean, my parents were divorced, so they sometimes fought about it. We did never talked about the value of money because my
mhm,
mom worked a lot. She worked two full-time jobs for a long time as a nurse. So she worked very hard, and sometimes there wasn't enough money, so that was kind of hard. So the things I did learn about money were just, like I said, based on observation and things I did on my own, like that weird piggy bank
yeah.
like thing. And actually, I want to just pause. I know you edit, right? These do you edit? Okay. Um, how do you pronounce your name? I just want to get it right.
Kriti. Kriti.
Kriti?
Yeah.
Kriti? Okay, thank you, Kriti. I just wanted to make sure in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
head it was Kriti. Okay, that's all. Yeah, and so we didn't. How about you? Does your
Um,
family talk about money? I know you're.
I would say in the past couple of years, like I guess when I was little, I'm not very observant about money and the behind the scenes and everything. But definitely in the past couple years, especially the past months, as I started getting more interested in financial literacy and finances, I started asking my parents more, and they're being more open about finances, whereas in the past, they talk about it behind doors and stuff. So
Yeah.
because I think only in the past few months I've started realizing how important it is. 'Cause I didn't really think. I just like took the money my parents had and bought whatever I wanted. I wasn't ever
Yeah, for sure.
actively thinking. So, and it's important for all of us to be actively thinking, right, about our buying and how we can better use our money. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so smart that you're getting into it. And
Yeah, so how did you start like getting interested in money? Because I read that you said that you hated money at one point. So how did you start getting interested?
yeah, and I still have those feelings. And well, having those hippie feelings of things would just be easier if we didn't have to worry about money, right? We all have that fantasy for sure.
Mhm.
I think I got interested from an early age. Well, I think you touched upon this. I did a zine when I was your age and a freshman in high school,
Mhm.
and I called it Gay, and it was about money. And my early fascination was just from people's obsession with money. And I interviewed everyone I could for this little zine I put together. I
Mhm.
interviewed my teachers, I interviewed family, parents, my classmates,
Mhm.
like the librarian, anyone I could talk to about that. I scribbled everything in a notebook and I put it together. It's
Mhm.
just a compilation of quotes, really.
Oh,
But I think it was because I saw that how much it affected people.
yeah.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, not knowing what to do with money or not having a concept of it. Like my
Mhm.
mom worked really hard, but we never talked about a budget.
Oh,
We never talked about how money flowed.
mhm.
So it was always this big mystery to me, a big question mark
Okay.
in a black box for me to understand how to plan around money. I think my mom was very kind and generous mom, and she would always say yes to things. So like if I wanted to do something, I wanted to be in high school band and I
Mhm.
needed money for uniforms
Mhm.
or stuff,
Yeah.
and I asked her and she said yes, but she never was I never felt like, where does the money come from? Is she does she have savings for it? Is
Mhm.
she
Like
can
the
she
behind
afford
the
it?
scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes, like is she using credit card for that? So I
Okay.
think it was maybe a fear around money too.
Oh.
Maybe because I didn't quite understand it and
Mhm.
didn't have a lot of knowledge around it. And so
Okay.
I think for me, it was a way to have freedom.
Oh, okay.
Like with it ties into, what you're interested in is that, the more I know about money and the more I can have a
Yes.
control over it and discipline,
Yeah.
the more freedom I can have from stress or for having more options in life. And I think I got kind of more into that as I got a little older.
Mm,
But
okay.
from an early age, I was always just also interested in having my own money,
Okay. I,
like making
yeah.
side gigs and things like that.
Yeah. That's interesting. I understand now. So, you talked about you did one of those side hustles, or you did that interview about money in high school. So, what are some side hustles that you did in high school?
Yeah, so side hustles in high school, I did. Well, I did the one about pixie sticks. That was actually, I think, in sixth or seventh grade, middle school. And we were really into like fundraising. You know how you like sell candy bars for
Yeah, bake
school,
sales.
right? Yeah, and then you got to go to like somewhere fun for the day, whatever it was. And so I was really into that when I was young. And my first side hustle was selling candy in between classes to my
Oh,
classmates.
that's cool.
And that was really fun because I learned a lot of things, from that. I learned what profit meant. Like if I bought a box of candy for $4 or $5, and then I make $15, that's $10 profit. I
Yeah.
learned how to figure out what my classmates were interested in, if they were really into Skittles and not
Interesting.
Milky Way bars. So I learned a lot. And in high school, I'm trying to think what side hustles I did in high school. I did some after school jobs in high school. I
Okay.
worked at like a after school program, like with little like elementary school kids.
Okay.
What else did I do in high school? Um, I think I did. Oh, me and my best friend at the time, we wanted to go on a shopping spree at the mall. I know malls were not so much. Malls are still a thing, but now it's online shopping, right? But back then it was all about going to the mall. So we were trying to save. I think we were trying to like save $1,000.
Mhm.
Oh, or earn $1,000. So we did a bunch of things. I did. I made a flyer and I posted it around my neighborhood for like pet sitting.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I did like babysitting or kid sitting. I watered people's lawns while they were on vacation. Any like little side hustles people were willing to pay me for, I did for that shopping spree.
So right now, so you're a freelancer. So what exactly is a freelancer?
Yeah, so great question. So a freelancer is someone who doesn't work for anyone but themselves. So they're self-employed. So
Mhm,
they're their own boss
mhm.
and they get work with different companies and clients as an independent person. So they're usually people, one people company, and they go out and they do different types of offer different types of products or services. So you can do writing, you can do web design, you can sell something online. Those are all different types of freelancers. I have some friends who are also lawyers who are considered freelancers.
Oh,
So they are independent contractors, and then they do different gigs. So you might work with a client for a long time, or you might do one assignment or one gig with a freelance for a client. So yeah, that's what I've been doing for about almost 5 years now.
okay. And so what are some of the disadvantages and advantages to being
Oh,
a freelancer?
great question. So I will start with the advantages with
Yeah.
freelancing. There's a lot of flexibility with freelancing.
Okay.
So some people freelance just they have like they're still in school like yourself,
Mhm.
or they are maybe a parent, or they have a day job, like a full-time job. So they can do freelancing on the side for like, a couple hours a week if they have time. That's how I started. I was freelancing on the side for about, oh, geez, I want to say 4 or 5 years before I went full-time. And there's usually not a lot of you don't need a lot to get started. So
Oh,
you just need to do the work, right? So if you want to start writing, if you know how to write, and you can do it. If you have samples, great. If you can proofread or fact check, great. If you want to be an admin, a virtual assistant, that's another type of freelancer. So it
oh,
doesn't take a lot to get started. You don't need to like finish high,
degree.
a degree exactly. You don't need to go to night school. You don't. There's usually, depending on the type of work you do, you just have to be able to do the work,
Yeah,
yeah, and have
that
some,
skill set. Yeah.
yeah. And another great thing is you can get started. And I mean, I have people who started because in college or
Mhm,
even earlier, like in your age. You can probably freelance if you wanted to instead of getting a job at
mhm.
Best Buy. My friend Carissa, she's started freelancing in college because she applied for a job at Best Buy and she didn't get it. And so she's like, oh, I'm just going to go on like Upwork or Fiverr
Oh, yeah.
and get it that way. So she spent her college years doing that. And now she started her own agency
Oh,
at 21. It's pretty great. Yeah. So you learn a lot of entrepreneur skills. You learn how to like work for yourself.
mhm.
Those are definitely the benefits. Let's see. So, and then you can also, change things. So if you want to do 3 or 4 different things, you can.
It's not
So
like,
yeah, and the disadvantages of freelancing, well, for people who do it full time, you do spend more time like on your business.
oh,
So I spend time not just doing the work, but I have to spend time looking for clients,
yeah.
sending them invoicing, like all the money stuff,
Yeah.
managing my money. You don't just get, a steady paycheck
Yeah.
every 2 weeks, of course. So you have to do a little bit more money management. You have to do a little bit more management with your benefits. So you don't get like healthcare. You have to pay for it yourself.
Oh,
So disadvantages. Another disadvantage, which actually deters some people from freelancing or has them, they try freelancing and they don't like it, is the income can be inconsistent.
okay.
So like 1 month you might be doing great and the next month you may not be doing so well. So that
Okay.
can be stressful. However, I feel like there's more security in freelancing in some ways. That being said, there can be.
Okay. I see.
And yeah, does that make sense? So
Yeah, it
yeah,
definitely does.
because you don't just have one client, you can have 5 or 6 clients.
Yeah.
So if you lose one client, you still have 5 clients.
And you have that control. And
Exactly. Yeah.
so that gives you the sense of security, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And so you have your blog, Hey Freelancer. So what was your inspiration to start this blog?
Yeah. So Hey Freelancer was basically because I love talking to other freelancers
Okay.
and I wanted to help other freelancers primarily with their money, like because there's a lot of challenges. I mentioned having income that is inconsistent or variable,
Mhm.
having just different challenges they had. And before it was Hey Freelancer, it was actually called Cheapsters
Oh,
because I was really into being frugal.
okay.
Like I mentioned, saving money to me and having fewer bills
Mhm.
meant freedom. To
Mhm.
me, it meant freedom. And so it shifted to Hey Freelancer because I was helping more people who were freelancing, actually. They had more questions. And I wanted to kind of build a community and answer questions around that because I find like it's really inspirational for someone to go out and create something from their mind or for them to build a business themselves. I thought that was really inspirational.
Okay, I see. And so I was on your site and like, could you elaborate a bit more on like the stigma surrounding artists? And
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions about artists either hating money, don't care about money, or are bad with money.
Mhm.
And that comes from just lots of, I don't know, that just comes from hundreds of years of artists having this idea of just being free forming, like free spirited people.
Mhm.
And I find that the truth is artists who are professional, like the ones who do make a living off of their art,
Mhm.
they're actually very mindful of business.
Oh,
They're actually they think of their work as how to have a business around art. And the serious artists do try to make an effort to make a living from their art. And I think there can be a complicated relationship with artists and money for different reasons. Like maybe they're afraid that, or sometimes making money off of something isn't true to what they want to do. I've seen artists fall into that trap. It's like anything. It's like if you're good at something, then people will continue to want that from you. Does that make sense? Even though that's not something you might want to do.
okay.
Like maybe you're great at writing, but you really like math or something like that, right? And so, but people want you to keep writing because you're so good at it. So it's hard for you to kind of leave that
Mhm.
niche, so to speak. So yeah, there's a lot of, and I'm finding artists are can be very entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
They
they
can be very like into having their own business and being successful in that way as well. So it's not just like you're an artist and bad with money, and you're not, you can be an artist and
Mhm.
be really good with money and have a good business.
Okay, I see. So for me, like personally, like as I'm doing Wi-Fi Matters, I sometimes um I find it difficult, like as I create a lot of content, it's hard for me to like engage and have my voice heard with my audience. So how are you able to differentiate yourself and your blog and your writing and like all your content, and how are you able to engage with your audience and
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it can be hard, especially if you feel like there's a lot of content out there. Yeah, for sure. I think to start, just be true to you. Just be true to your interests, of course. I
Mhm.
think sometimes when we want to engage with a community or an audience, we want to see what's trending.
Yeah.
We want to see what's popular and want to kind of hop on that.
Yeah.
But that leads to problems because it's not authentic, and people can sense when you're not being true to yourself
Okay.
and you're not having a true interest in some things. I would say just start with what you are most passionate about. I also think it's important to see what is out there. It sounds like you are doing that. You're kind of seeing what other people are doing,
Yeah.
and then it is important to see where you fall on that spectrum.
Okay.
So and then maybe think about how you could stand out by being true to you. So
Yeah.
I think for me, it's a combination of just seeing what other people are doing as well, but also just thinking of interesting angles you
No.
can provide. I know when I was growing up, there wasn't as much financial literacy at all, or at all, really. There were some books for
Mhm.
sure, but there weren't like all these blogs, there weren't all these websites. There's
Yeah.
no Nerd Wallet. There was no,
Yeah.
all these things that we have now, which is great.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I know what you mean. There's so much of it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm always looking for an interesting angle with
Okay.
every story I tell when I'm writing stories or when I'm pitching ideas to editors. But a lot of it, if you don't know where to start with your own story.
Okay. Thanks for the advice.
Yeah.
I I really enjoyed your article about what I wish I knew about money throughout the years. So could you tell us and like tell the audience a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of things I wish I had known about money throughout the years. I think a big part of it was just, wow, where do I start with that? Understanding the power of saving when you're young, I think is a big one. And I think I touched upon that a little bit in the post.
Yeah.
Just like, not just saving for a goal is great. I've done that a lot when I was younger. Like I mentioned, the shopping spree and things like that.
Hmm.
But thinking long term, because when you're young, like you have all this time, right? And when you have time to like put your money into a savings account or even something like a retirement account, goodness, like you just have more time for it to grow and for it to have more value, than
Hmm.
I would at my age. Another thing is just like basics around student loans.
Okay.
As kids, as you are, going to hit your junior, senior year in high school, I didn't really understand student loans. I just knew I had to take them out. I just knew I was going to go to college, and that's what everyone else was doing,
Yeah.
was taking out student loans. So I think I wish I had known what it meant to take out a student loan.
Yeah.
I was lucky I didn't have a huge number. I think I had like 10,000, which isn't a lot, but it's still something.
Hmm.
Um, just understanding basics like, hey, when you're done with school, you are responsible for paying it back. And
Okay.
what does that mean? Like
Yeah.
how, the details, the nitty gritty of that.
Yeah.
Credit cards. I made some mistakes when I was younger with credit cards, like just like taking credit cards out that I thought were cute, or I don't know what I was thinking. Like I think I mentioned it was like a Disney card, and I picked it because it had like Bambi on it. I don't know, it was so silly, but I didn't really look at like, oh, like how much interest is on it, like what is it, how do I, what are the rules? Like I should pay it off, every month. Like I was pretty good about that. Thank goodness. Like I did pay off my credit card bill every month, and I
Yeah.
did a lot on it. But I just wish I had understood like AP, interest rates, like
Okay.
um payment terms, like comparing cards. I didn't really do any of that. So there's definitely some things that looking back I wish I had known about, or I wish I had like done a little more research before I jumped in with both feet.
Okay, I see. Also, I learned a lot from your article on investing and how you can start investing with
Yeah.
$100. So, um, why do you think it's important for young people like us teens to start investing?
Yeah, that's another great question. I think it's important to understand, first of all, the importance of investing, as it sounds like you do understand. It's your money in a savings account is good, but it only can go so far. It can only grow so much. So investing is really powerful for your long term.
Okay.
So like, if you have a big goal down the line, like, and if you want to save for retirement and you really want it to grow, yeah, investing is the way to go. And understanding the risks involved is really important too. So I think women don't invest
Yeah.
as much as men, and I don't think women were able to invest until maybe I might be wrong about this, the 70s or 80s, something like that. So women were not allowed to invest until
Oh, okay.
probably 40 or 50 years ago. I know. Wow. So women traditionally don't invest as much as men.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what the reasons are, but it hurts women, if they don't invest, because that's how you really grow your money.
Hmm.
Sure, there's more risk involved. It's more, the stock market goes up and down, but over time, it has shown that you will grow your money way more than if you kept it in a like a
Yeah.
yeah. So I think the power of it is just understanding how your money can grow so much more and how you have more options with
Okay.
when you have more money. As
Yeah.
financial independence is about having more options and freedom,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that really ties into finances.
Hmm. Okay. And so, what are some common mistakes that teens or just people in general make before they start investing?
Yeah. So I think some mistakes people might make about investing when they start is just not knowing the basics
Okay.
about investing. So understanding that there's risk involved,
Hmm.
that there's your risk tolerance, meaning how comfortable you are with the risk is maybe different than someone else,
Okay.
and understanding diversification.
Yeah.
So like not putting all your eggs in one basket, the basic things. I just understanding the basic best practices about investing is good. Understanding how it works, I've made mistakes where I've left my money and it wasn't invested. It was in like a savings account because you actually need to move your money into an investing vehicle. That makes sense. You
Yeah.
can't. So there's things I made mistake where I thought I had was investing, I wasn't. Like fees. Think about the fees. So there's usually fees involved with investing, and to look at that. Also knowing that you don't need thousands of dollars to get started.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can get started for 100. You can get started for less. There's a lot of great apps,
Yeah.
micro investing apps like
Yeah.
Acorns and
Yeah.
Stash.
I use Stockpile.
Oh, Stockpile, right. You mentioned that. Stockpile is another great one. You don't need a lot of money. And it helps you learn, about how it works, and it helps you learn how you feel, your
Yeah.
own emotions around investing. So I think a misconception is feeling like they need to know a lot to get to start, but then also not taking the time to know a little bit. Does that make sense? So you should know the basics about investing, but you shouldn't feel like you need to know every single thing there is to know, because there is a lot to learn about investing.
Okay.
So to get started, like you mentioned, doing Stockpile or
Mhm.
Acorns or Stash, where I think you just need $5 to
Yeah.
start, if that, is a great way to learn. It's
Mhm.
like low risk for sure.
Okay, I see. So, how has your personal relationship with money evolved throughout the years?
Wow, it has changed so much. Let me tell you. So my early years, I really started thinking about, like I said, like doing side hustles. I
Mhm.
thought about saving and being frugal,
Mhm.
and I was really into frugality because I wasn't making a lot of money out of college. I just didn't, I wasn't making a lot. I was living on my own,
Mhm.
and what really shifted for me was making more.
Mhm.
So, being frugal and being good with your money and saving it and being careful is important,
Mhm.
but you can only do so much with saving until you hit a wall. Right? You can only save so much. You can't go that much lower. But with earning, you can earn, hypothetically, you can earn exactly, you can earn as much as you want, or you can earn potentially as much as you can.
Yeah.
And so what really shifted for me was making more.
Okay.
And then when I made more, I was able to save a lot more, and I was able to be more value based
Oh,
with
okay.
my money, meaning like thinking about what kind of life you want, what's important to you, and putting your money there.
Okay.
So right now I'm thinking about, I'm in a place where I can help my friends who have small businesses. So I want to support like a local business.
Okay, I
They're
see.
really struggling right now with the pandemic,
Yeah, yeah,
as you know. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Um, so I also read that you are a hand model. So would
Oh, right.
would you recommend this as like I guess a side hustle for teens or like I don't know, it's a pretty like I'd say different experience. So yeah.
All right, sure. I definitely recommend doing something that's fun and as so that was something, an example of something where you didn't need any like education or skills for. And I did try it when I was, I think, my early 20s out of college. I do recommend doing fun things like that,
So finally, what is your advice for your 15-year-old self? It can be in terms of anything.
Yeah. So anything. Okay. So I did think about this one. I think when I was young, I was a pretty responsible and serious person, I feel like, and I was really focused on going to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what if I could give advice is just to have room for yourself to play and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So just have room in your life for something that is just for yourself, that you're having fun doing.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to tie into getting good grades. It doesn't have to tie into your future.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, and have time to rest. I
Okay.
think, because I think like as you get older, the world is going to pressure you to
Mhm.
just be more productive, and that's okay. I mean, it's good. Obviously, we need to be productive, and we need to be responsible and serious in some ways, but just give yourself room to have fun and to relax and stuff as well. Maybe that's for me because I was not a relaxed child. I think I was always like doing stuff and always busy and stuff.
Mhm.
So that's not a money question, but
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jackie. This was great. I
yeah.
love talking to you. I love your advice as well. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
That was the end of the interview, and from today's conversation, I learned a lot. Jackie helps me understand the pros and cons of being a freelancer, and she really enforces starting freelancing and side hustling early and trying different things and diversifying what we do and just trying to have fun while doing it. And money wise, I really enjoyed hearing about all her experiences throughout the years and her hate love relationship with money and the importance of learning about money starting young. If you want to get a hold of Jackie and check out what she does, the link to her website, Hey Freelancer, will be in the episode description. Also, go check out the Voices blog at Wi-Fi Matters. It's going to be on www.wifimatters.com. And this week's featured teen voice is Ida and her take on the art of negotiation, which she observed in Istanbul, Turkey. Also, if you're interested in contributing on the quest of financial literacy, please shoot me an email at kriti@wifimatters.com. That's KRITI@wifimatters.com. I'd totally be up for you guys to write your perspective on money. So, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next time. Thanks.